Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with March 17th. Spoilers for Shadow over Innistrad. We're going to do this live again. That means I haven't seen these cards. So without further ado, let's scroll down and see what we have this time. Alright, so Jace's Scrutiny, which is target creature -4 to -0, and Investigate. Filler card. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, Investigate. That's actually not bad for Trial of Evidence. Is there something that this Investigate might get out of hand? This card especially might get out of hand like Vidalcan Archmage. Is it whenever you cast an artifact spell or whenever an artifact comes into the battlefield? I'll have to see if Vidalcan Archmage actually does have that clause in it, which one it has. I think it might be cast. So, but I wonder if there's an enter the battlefield effect that works with drawing cards or doing something. I know there's a few of them, like there was one for each color back in Scars of Mirrodin. Can't remember. There are 2 mana cost cards. One gained life, one looted, one gave something +1/+0 and Death Touch, I think. And one you could put a 1/1 mirror into play. All of those cards seem pretty good with this Trail of Evidence because it's an instant sorcery spell and you put a colorless clue artifact token on the battlefield. I think this Trail of Evidence is extremely powerful in the right hands, and with modern or standard, excuse me, right now still having access to Origins, that means we still have the Aether Grid. That is something you can pair with this Trail of Evidence, and so now you have kind of like a Sphinx's Tutelage deck that I think is very good with this Trail of Evidence, which gives you other ways to draw cards, and then you can actually, if they shut down your mill strategy, you now have the ability to go into the Aether Grid with Trail of Evidence that puts out just an insane amount of these clue artifact tokens that then you can tap to do damage. So Trail of Evidence I think we'll see play. It'll be definitely a card that I'll brew around, and I think the sky is the limit with how powerful this card can get, especially in another format where there's a lot more free spells like Modern. Insanely good card at an uncommon. So pick these up. I think that these could easily be worth money in the long run. We'll try to break it. I'm looking forward to your comments of how you could break it with Trail of Evidence. But this feels just a lot like a Monastery Mentor or something like that. Yeah, it starts to enable Metalcraft in a Metalcraft type deck too. Wow. All right. Daring Sleuth. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, transform him. He's a 2/1 for 2, and it turns into a Prowess. Whenever Overwhelming Truth deals combat damage to player, Investigate. So almost like a little bit of a seeker of the stealer of secrets type card, but it's got Prowess, 3/2 Prowess. That is not a bad card. That is not a bad card. I don't know if it's constructed playable. It's a rogue though. He turns into a wizard though. What a traitor. No one likes wizards. We like rogues. Anyway, and then investigating is pretty good with having to draw a card, basically is what that says, or just put out more artifacts. You never know if that's going to be relevant, how relevant that's going to be with an Aether Grid type deck. How many times you can put out these artifacts that you can actually use for things besides drawing cards. So yeah. Anywho, Silver Fur Partisan, Wolf Warrior. Trample whenever a wolf or a werewolf you control becomes the target of an instant sorcery spell. Put a 2/2 green wolf creature token on the battlefield. All right, I think we found our missing piece now for a modern deck. I don't know. It's going to be rough because 3 might just be put this in the verge of unplayable in Modern when you need to be 2, but this really feels like a young Pyromancer to me in the deck. So the deck that I love this card in, the Silver Fur Partisan, is in an Acrone Crusader young Pyromancer deck where you're going to use Mutagenic Growth, you're going to use the Convoke cards. In fact, this really works very well with the green Convoke card that you can just put a free 2/2 out, and if you can get any other value from like a young Pyromancer, you can easily flood the board. So another amazing card. This set is just full of goodies. I cannot believe how powerful this set is. It might be my favorite set ever printed if we just give me time. I'm going to be a busy person, but yeah, this goes perfectly in that Acrone Crusader deck because we'll be using the both the Convoke cards that can be convoked for free. We'll be using the Mutagenic Growth, which is free. We'll be using a lot of the cards that cost very little mana to target a creature because that's exactly what you want in the Acrone Crusader because the Acrone Crusader gets a 1/1. And then we'll be using Battle Hymn to generate a crap ton of mana. So yeah, and in fact, we could even go into Monastery Mentor. We already did have a card that kind of worked very similar Mentor, but Mentor Young Pyromancer and this guy with a Chrome Crusader, that gives you 4, 8, 12, 16 creatures. I think that's exactly what you want now. We're completely full. I don't have to go any sort of like other more of the janky cards like the Empty the Warrens, even though Empty the Warrens would be pretty decent in a deck like this. Basically, the theory behind that deck is you ramp up enough of these tokens and you give them all haste. There's plenty of ways to give them haste, and then they swing in for lethal with the haste. There's also other cards that there's a Storm card that gives them all +1/+0 for each spell you cast that turn, and it's another way you can go crazy. I wonder if there's like a Vitalize. Is Vitalize legal in Modern? If there's a way to untap all your creatures as well, because then that you can untap them all after using their Convoke abilities and then swing in. The sky's the limit with this card as well. It's a very, 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 very powerful card in the right hands. Ongoing Investigation. Whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, investigate. Exile a creature card from your graveyard, investigate, and you gain 2 life. Another solid enchantment. This is very solid. 2 life, and you have to exile a creature card, but that's not very hard with like tokens, especially like tokens that can recur. There are plenty of those type of cards in with Kalitas, and we're losing Mentor, but I'm sure there's actually, we're losing a few token generating cards, but we still have plenty. Diagraph Colossus. Let's see. I cannot read whatever. Is this German? All right, so let's look at this card, see what it does. Zombie for 3, Diagraph Colossus. Diagraph Colossus enters the battlefield with a +1 counter for each zombie in your graveyard, and whenever you cast a zombie spell, put a 2/2 zombie creature token on the battlefield tab. Well, this is going in my zombie tribal. This is another great card. And the cool thing about it is it's a 2/2 for 2, or for 3, and then it also gets bigger. This is a great card. This is another zombie tribal might be a thing in this deck. You still have the zombie that can recur, the 4 mana one that gives all creatures plus zombie creatures +1/+1. You have Kalitas that puts in zombie tokens. Yeah, there was a few other, I believe, that bring in zombie tokens. Plus, I don't think we've seen the entire set. So, and then every time you cast a zombie creature spell, a 2/2 zombie, that's huge. We haven't seen a Diagraph or the Gravecrawler reprint, but there was a 2/1 that can recur as well, 2 mana one. Yeah, this is a great spell. This is our great card. Another exciting one to work around. More reason to run Fiery Temper like crazy, and what if there's another way to Radiant Flames as well is gonna at least put this card. It gives us answers for these cards right now. So red does have some decent answers. All right, so let's go back, and it's Vessel of Volatility. 2 mana for an enchantment, 2 mana sacrifice Vessel of Volatility, add 4 to your mana pool. Why, Wizards? Why do you keep doing this? I don't like stuff that cheats out this one actually seems very powerful because you can do it on turn 2, and then turn 3 you can generate 2 more mana, and you get any sort of benefit of casting an artifact or an artifact or an enchantment, excuse me, either casting or dying. So it might not be powerful enough, but it's another ramp spell. At least it's not a spell like an instant or sorcery. At least it's an enchantment. So hopefully there won't be any stupid recurring with this in Modern. I'm sure someone is going to figure out some sort of eggs type strategy with this card to kind of ramp up to a bazillion. Because the card that still exists in eggs returns all permanents that went to the battlefield this turn. So Vessel of Volatility can actually be, this is another card that can be used in the Faithless Reward deck. So maybe investing in Faithless Reward might be a thing. With white and red are perfect for that because they're both artifact colors. So I'm sure there might be, there's a spell that generates a ton of mana. It's like 4 mana to generate 7 mana, I believe, or maybe it's even 3 mana. Geosurge. Geosurge I think goes pretty well because this can then cast Geosurge, which then can cast a ton of artifacts. And then you can sacrifice those artifacts and then get mana, like the Chromatic Sphere and Star, and then you'll be able to recur them all through the. I don't think Open the Vaults does all permanents. I will have to check it, but I know that Faithless Reward brings back all permanents we're putting into the battlefield. So I don't know. I'm mixed about this because I don't like combo decks, and it does. This will be another combo enabler. All right, Sorin, Grim Nemesis, 6 mana for a 6 loyalty planeswalker. Reveal the top card of your library, put that card in your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to its converted mana cost. That's cool. And then Sorin, Grim Nemesis deals X damage to target creature planeswalker when you gain X life. So it protects itself and gains life for 6 mana. That's not bad. That is a very solid finisher. And then it can give you card advantage, so it does 2 things that a planeswalker wants to do. And then its ultimate, put a number of 1/1 Black Vampire Knight creature tokens with lifelink on the battlefield equal to the highest life total among all players. It's actually a quite unexciting ultimate, but it will give a way to finish off the game. It's just they don't have haste. They're very easy to kill with a number of different things in the format. But I think that this card really shines from its first 2 abilities. Very good. Deathcap Cultivator, Delirium, and it adds a black or a green for 2 mana. So once again, they're getting away from that 1-drop. I think that's smart because if Modern gets another 1-drop that can add a different color, I think we're in trouble. Too bad, because I think this Deathcap Cultivator would go great in a Phyrexian. I want a Phyrexian Obliterator deck, but I need another 1-drop in green that can do it, and all we have is Birds of Paradise. What I like about Phyrexian Obliterator is the Domri. Domri and a Phyrexian Obliterator is so much fun. But Deathcap Cultivator might actually be able to see play in that deck because it does. No, there's better things. There are things that can generate any mana, any color of mana in your mana pool for 2, like the Sylvan Carry that would just be better. And then this guy has Death Touch, so there are 4 more cards. I actually don't really like this card too much. It'll be a nice little replacement for Rattleclaw, another 2-drop card, and then can get Death Touch, so it's not terrible. It can ramp you to those Collected Companies. And black is a great card with Collected Companies right now, so we can actually find like a black source for something else that would go great in that deck. So it's decent. This is a great card. Drownyard Temple. Add a colorless mana to your mana pool and return Drownyard Temple from your graveyard to the battlefield for 3. So it's just a land you can keep recurring. That's nice against land destruction type decks or any way to abuse. Like, so Life of the Loam type decks or any way to mill it. Like the self-mill decks, you have a way to actually return it. That's actually not a bad ability. I can see this actually seeing play in a lot of Eternal formats, because that's not bad. Traverse the Ulvenwald. Search your library for basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. Delirium with their 4 more creature or card types in your graveyard, and send search for a creature or land. That is another. This is a very solid tutor. This is going to go in plenty of decks. I'll run it in Mimeoplasm for sure because it's easy to get all the creature or all card types in my graveyard. It'll be another way to tutor up something I need, and basically any green-based commander deck, this is going in it, absolutely. So it's gonna be a solid card. This will see play as well. I don't think that it replaces Oath of Nissa in a lot of decks because Oath of Nissa stays out and looks at the top 3 cards, but like in Tooth and Nail, this is nice so you can just go get you a basic land and thin out your deck, and that's what you want it to do. Plus, this is another card in your... I mean, this is a free spell. 1, go get something. Now, all those cards have traditionally seen play. So 1 mana, go get a basic land, set yourself up, especially in a 2 or 3 color deck. You can find a off land that you might. So you have green, so you need another one, another source of a different color. You can go grab that. So it has that implication. It doesn't cost you anything. This is a very solid card. I know that cards like this have existed for 1 in the past, but usually they had some sort of drawback. But this actually has an up to it, so you can get a creature late game. So early game, if you need a fix, here it is. Late game, you can go get a creature. Absolutely solid card. All right, another card I cannot read. All right, so this one is... Westvale Abbey. Tap out a colorless mana pool, pay 1 life, put a 1/1 white and black human cleric token on the battlefield, and 5 and tap, sacrifice 5 creatures, transform, and untap Profane Prince. That is pretty good. Where I like this card is the Blightherder. Blightherder adds 4 cards. Or any other of the Eldrazi. They add a lot of tokens, and this is pretty easy then to get a Flying Lifelink Indestructible and Haste card. Yeah, this comes out right after Blightherder. Also is really good in a white-black deck because we get the Vindicate, the Exile Vindicate type card, which will give us a card in our opponent's Exile. We still have Silk Wrap. We still have a lot of the Exile cards out of the Battle for Zendikar block. And this means we can get Blightherder online quite easily and get those 3 1/1 Eldrazi spawns and then be able to sacrifice them to get out this huge creature, and it doesn't cost us anything. This is solid card that I think we'll definitely see play. It doesn't come into play tap, so there's that ability. You can put out 1/1 clerics late game, which is exactly what I want in the Gideon control decks, the black-white Eldrazi control decks. And then this is also kind of cool with Taisa. This will go in my Taisa commander deck because it's a black and white human cleric, so it's just better than, what was I using, like the spring that puts out 0/1 goats. This is just better than that, as it will give me a lot of fodder in any sort of token-based strategy. I could see this possibly going in. I don't think that you want this in Martyr Proc or Soul Sisters. It just doesn't have that big of an upside. But you never know. You could see that, and you could always transform it into a huge creature. Yeah, there's very little downside to this card because it adds just 1 your mana pool by not coming into play tapped. And the sacrificing 5 creatures is very easy in a Lingering Souls or Spectral Procession deck. Let's just be glad Eye of Ugin's going to be banned, because this would go in Eldrazi, colorless Eldrazi. Be another way for them to get another finisher. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, this is definitely modern playable, definitely standard playable, definitely a solid card. This set is crazy good. Alright, so I think that was our last card. Yeah, because this is the double card. I don't think there's anything spoiled. Oh, there's a few things spoiled I didn't get to yesterday. What did I get to? I think we got to the Indulgent Aristocrat. So we have the Merciless Resolve as additional cost to cast Merciless Resolve, sack a creature, land, draw 2 cards. Meh, filler. A Madness 3, filler. I just love Madness, though. This is a 3/5 for 3. We all knew how powerful Arrogant Worm was back during, that was a 4/4 Trampler for 3. So don't underestimate Madness. The ability is broken as hell. So yeah, good card. And then Stormkirk Mentor. Stormkirk Mentor enters the battlefield with +1 counter on it. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1 counter on another target vampire you control. Filler. Nice little filler, solid card. Olivia's Bloodsword. Target vampire gains haste until end turn. 2/1 for 2. Really good in that red-black vampire tribal, because this is going to allow you to give haste to a lot of your, like, Olivia's, and higher vampires like the Drana, which I actually think is useful now. I'm biting my words about Drana. I don't think that Drana would be useful outside a tribal deck, though, because I think there's just a lot of 3-drops that are just more solid, and it's going to be the vampire aspect of Drana that's going to push it over the top. You got to think, too, a lot of the vampires from the last set are still allies, and so you can kind of do like a both ally vampire tribal. I could see it happening. The flying 2/1 for 2 is very solid as well. The ability to Madness this for 2 with the 1-drop vampire is very solid. We have, it looks to appear we have a lot of vampires at 1 and 2. And that's exactly what Olivia wants with a vampire tribal, to be able to discard them for this and then be able to Madness them out with the other. I mean, you can almost chain off these. Late game, you can start chaining off these Madness. So you'll be able to discard a card to give something a +1/+1 with Olivia and still freely put it into play. So I'm really liking this vampire tribal. I really like the zombie tribal that's happening. The clue stones are working out very well. This is a very solid set. We have a lot of filler left. I think they've spoiled most of the rares and most of the mythics. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is easily one of my favorite sets. I would say this is my favorite set since Fate Reforged for sure, because I really did like Fate Reforged. Fate Reforged was an amazing set that unfortunately was crammed between 2 good stuff blocks. And I really like the potential of a lot of Fate Reforged cards if it didn't have Khans of Tarkir attached to it. I think a lot of these cards never got to see fruition because of how powerful Khans was. But then Theros block, I wasn't a fan of most of the cards in Theros block, and then as well as Return to Ravnica, Return to Ravnica block was one of my most hated blocks because there was just so many duh cards, just too many powerful cards like Supreme Verdict that really kept down a lot of archetypes. But so Innistrad, I would say this is probably my favorite set ever since last Innistrad, which is saying a lot. They've done a phenomenal job so far. We'll see how it plays out. A lot of different archetypes. It seems like the sky's the limit with a lot of these cards. Most of these cards need to be brewed around, need to be worked around with a deck builder, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Hope that we can put our heads together and find some great ways to break these cards. This is Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.